In this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of a real coaching call I had with a creator named Josiah, who is trying to negotiate with a brand who is starting an ambassador program. Wanted him to create 3 videos over the course of 3 months for them, trying to raise awareness about their brand. Walk me through what happened in this scenario during this negotiation. I know there's kind of like a lot of back and forth in the thread here, but give us a little bit of context.
Yeah, so I actually worked with them in the past when they first opened nearby me. They're a small Jamaican food vendor in the mall that I actually worked with about 2 years ago. And I just went over there to shoot some stuff because I had it one time. I love the food. And it seems like they want to start doing more influencer marketing or content or whatever it may be. So they sent me an email because we worked together in the past, and I like the guys there, I like their food there, I like what they're doing.
Side note, do you know if this brand has multiple locations or is it just the one?
They were opening one, I think, this month or the next, but before this conversation even happened, they only had one
location. So we're talking about a really small business right now, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, really small business. So that's just something to keep in mind for sure. You say, and you responded, hey, thanks for reaching out. When you say paid partnership, are the meals, merch, cards in addition to payment, or is that the form of payment? Good to clarify, right? Because some brands be like, oh, you free meal coupon, that's going to be the payment, right? And so you actually clarify that, which is positive. And you responded immediately. Oh yeah, sounds good. Payment in addition to perks. Let's jump on a call. Love that. Walk me through how the call went.
It was good. They pretty much said that they were open to whatever creative ideas I had or what I wanted to do. They knew what they wanted to focus on exactly, but outside of that, it was pretty much open for me to kind of make it up and present their idea. I don't think we talked numbers on the phone. They were still gonna sort it out. Mm-hmm. So then I just made sure to figure out like if they wanted to use user rights, if they wanted whitelisting, which she said on the phone they did.
Okay.
They wanted to have that. But it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't a very long call, maybe 15 minutes.
So there wasn't really a conversation on the phone about budget, or you did ask or you didn't?
I did, but they said they weren't entirely sure yet. They would get back to me on it, if I remember right.
Okay. So do you remember exactly how you asked them about the budget, or you just said, how much are you thinking to allocate, or like, do you remember exactly what you said?
I don't remember. No.
Okay. So one potential teaching moment here, because I'm looking at the next email in this thread, and you basically came out with the packages. You gave them, okay, here's the different packages we can do. So one thing that I have found to be very helpful over the years, when you're trying to get some sort of directional sense of like what a brand's budget is, especially a pretty small company that has one location basically, is to say the following, basically verbatim. Hey, all this information was super helpful. Thank you, for all the context about what you're trying to accomplish on this campaign. Typically, what I like to do is I'm going to go back. I'm going to put together a couple ideas of how we can collaborate, and I'm going to give you several different packages at a couple different levels. Do you have a sense of what those, let's say, 3 levels would look like from a budget feasibility perspective? So it sounds the same as saying, what's your budget? But asking them to give you a range of 5, 10, 15K or 1, 2, 3K or whatever it is, allows them to feel as though they have an out, right? So if they say to you, oh, 5K is the budget. Well, of course, you're going to come back at a budget of 5K, right? But if they say to you, okay, it's going to be 5, 10, 15K, you're not necessarily limited to only just that. You can still put packages higher than that, but it gives you some directional sense of like where you should be coming in at. Because if I look at the packages that you provided in this next email here, which was basically 10, 45, 55K, I can basically guarantee you that a single location restaurant would have absolute sticker shock at a 55K package. Like, there is a level at where it feels just like totally like, what the heck, this is crazy to the brand, right? And so that's what you want to avoid. You do want to be aggressive for sure, but you don't want to go to a point where they feel they're insulted. I'm not saying they were insulted, but it's possible when again, I'm just going with the context here of single location. Their entire marketing budget for 6 months is probably 55K, right? And so I think that, yes, you want to illustrate your value and your worth and all this stuff too. But if you were to kind of go back and, hold the hand on Josiah of 3 months ago, 2 months ago or whatever, and say, this is what you should do instead, probably would be asking them, more explicitly about the budget ranges, and then going in a little bit more, I would say probably conservatively on the different packages initially. The other thing too is that when I'm looking at exactly what you offered in the different tiers, it was kind of just like, I think I would be looking for, I think, a little bit more diversity in terms of the deliverables. They said they wanted 3 videos. That was initially what they said on the phone, right?
Yeah, and they said their focus was Instagram and TikTok, which is why I put those 3, because I have in the past put packages for other things that they didn't mention more important to them, and they just they clarified that they didn't care for that.
Got it. So
other
brands. What I mean by in terms of diversity of deliverables is that I would actually have preferred to see package 1 be like 1 video, 1 TikTok, 1, Instagram reel, let's say. So you're actually giving them less than they were asking for. Maybe package 2 is going to be 2 videos. Package 3 is going to be the 3 videos, right? Package 4 is going to be, a TikTok, 3 TikToks cross-posted to reels, right? And so the reason that I think this strategy would have been effective for this particular sponsor is because of the fact that they're so new. They have 1 location. I keep going to this whole idea of they're, they probably don't have a very robust budget. And so what that allows you to do is come down on your rate to some of these lower packages with less deliverables, if they come back to you and say, oh, wow, we can't do package 4, or we can't do package 3, which is, whatever that price would be. But yeah, let's actually explore. Right. Just doing 1, because right now the way it is for you now is that they came back to you, it seems like, right? And the next thing they said to you is, oh, would you be willing to meet us closer to the 5K mark? So, okay, now we have the information. Basically their budget is half of your package 1, right? But, your only leverage here now is either come down on your rate completely for 50% and do the same amount of deliverables that you were offering in package 1, which is not something you want to do, right? You don't want to just come down on your rate for no reason. Right. And the only thing that you could be able to do is modify package 1 to give them less deliverables, right? The next thing you come back and say, hey, I hear you. I want to make this work. Can we, reduce this to, let's just say 3 videos for 8,500. So, I think exploring, in my mind, at this juncture in the negotiation, probably in my mind, what I would have been looking to do would have been exploring hey, would you be interested in doing less deliverables? That's number 1, a question for them, right? And then number 2, thinking about if there is a creative way in which you can get more assets out of 1 piece of content. There's a couple different angles, thematic angles that you could go, maybe one of the assets is going to be it's all about the food, almost like a tasting menu type thing, right? That's one of them. Another angle is okay, this new place just opened up at this local mall, it's awesome, so it's more of kind of like a day in the life vlog style type reel or video about the food, right? And so what I'm saying is that perhaps, let's say for the menu video type idea, you could actually maybe get 3 assets out of that content, right? So you film a bunch of their dishes, you get a bunch of close-ups, maybe 20 dishes or whatever, and then the asset that you post maybe only has 10 of them, but then you give them 2 additional assets that they can use for paid media that you actually don't post. So the work is maybe a little bit less, it's not requiring you to create a whole new asset, basically, but it's kind of accomplishing what they initially were hoping to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally does.
So yeah, please go ahead.
No, this kind of reminds me of the initial question of if I've noticed any themes with brands, and that you've heard some things from creators, or a common theme is that once they know what they want, they just want to read for that, and that's it. I have seen that too, but because this was, and they told me their focus was Instagram and TikTok, and they wanted the 3 videos over the 3 months. Mm-hmm. And they seemed pretty sure about that. They weren't oh, maybe we'll do 1 or this, that, and the other thing. They seemed pretty sure.
2 comments to that. Number 1, yes, there are 100% brands who are dead set, and all they care about, and as much as you try and change their mind, they're just not going to they're not going to change their mind. And it's frustrating. Yeah. I totally acknowledge that. And it's really annoying. However, I also probably on that call with them that you initially had would have probed deeper about the quantity question of like, what is it about those three? Like, why is it 3 videos? Why is that the most important thing? They could come back to you and say, oh, well, you know, internally we've decided that we need to be, you know, reposting, you know, posting something on our Instagram, either sourced internally or sourced by a partner that we hire. We need to be posting something on our brands, our restaurants, Instagram once every other day or something. I don't know. Maybe they come back to you with that. If you ask that question, they may tell you something that you would have never known, right? And you said, oh, the reason that it's so critical you have 3 is because of that, is because you like want to have content to post on your Instagram. Oh, that's interesting. And then maybe you can come up with another creative solution to that challenge, right? And so it's perhaps the deliverable constraint is because of some sort of internal goal or milestone or something that they've created that you just don't have any idea about. And so they have decided that hiring influencers for, maybe they're going to hire 10 influencers. Like, for example, let's say we're going to hire 10 influencers. They're all going to make 3 pieces of content, and then we'll have a piece of content to post every day. 30 days. like that's what we're going to do. And so that might have been their strategy. That might have been their logic. And so you come into them and be like, hey, I can actually make 10 for you. You don't have to hire, you know, these 7 other people or whatever it is. So it's just like, I guess the advice here is that you're right. There are some brands that are very resistive to that, but rather than just kind of walking away or conceding or saying no, it's like, don't be afraid to ask more probing questions about why that's the case. In a situation like this, where you actually had a phone call, you had a direct conversation with the, you know, the brand manager, it seems like, it's easier to have those conversations here than it is for like trying to negotiate with like a platform, like, you know, the brand deal platforms or whatever. That is even a different taller order, because that one is like a lot more difficult. So I guess kind of the takeaway as I, you know, kind of read through the thread here is that, number one, I still think this is salvageable. Like, have you gone back to them since the last conversation, it seems like, was early March?
No, I haven't, and I thought about it because now that you said about probing a little deeper and seeing why they want the things that they want, specifically 3 videos for this platform or 3 videos for that platform, and then you find out maybe they're just trying to get content to repurpose or just have more content flowing on their channels. It makes it easier to pivot to, oh, actually, if you want this, I can do this for you, and it'll be this rate, it'll fit your budget better, blah, 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 and going that way, which makes sense. And I thought about reaching back out to them to maybe see if they just wanted some UGC.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the other, you know, the other really important point here is, like, regardless of calculators that you use and what all those numbers say and all that stuff too, there's this really important, I think, philosophy about your overall sponsorship strategy, is that rather than getting fixated on like, okay, I have to charge this certain amount of rate for every post that I do or whatever, like this is what the calculators are saying, like this is what I should charge. My philosophy has always been about sponsorships is that I am going to work with a lot of brands in any given month and any year, and they're all going to be paying me differently, right? This person may pay me 1,000 and this person may pay me 10,000. Like it's all about what is the brand trying to accomplish. And so if you look at kind of your sponsorship strategy as a diversified stock portfolio, you're not going to have winners in every stock that you pick, right? Some you may have like outsized success and it's going to represent a very large portion of your returns, and some are going to just keep the lights on. And that is okay. That is the nature of what we do as creators, is that some deals are going to be more lucrative than others. And so I do think that this is like an important acknowledgement, is that, hey, maybe there would have been a way to salvage this deal. Hey, this brand is telling me I'm going to pay you $5,000. And so like my goal right there would have been, how can I possibly make this this brand fork over the $5,000 to me? Another strategy that you could have employed here, Josiah, is you could have said, oh, well, thank you so much. This was March 1st, right? You could have said, I'm curious, like, is the reason that the $5,000 is your max budget right now, is it because of a quarterly budget thing? Because I would be more than willing to stretch the payments between Q1 and Q2. So you can pay me half of it. Now let's say it was a $10,000 deal. You can do half now and half in April 1st or whenever it is. Stretch the budget. Or maybe it's monthly payments. Maybe it's over the next 3 months. You can actually pay me $2,000 a month or $2,500 a month or whatever. If they're a small business, they're a one single location restaurant, then having the flexibility of being able to pay in installments, for example, especially given it was going to be a 3-month partnership, maybe that's something that you could have offered. And you know, that may have been the thing to seal the deal. Oh, they say, oh, we didn't even know you'd be willing to do something like that. Right. So I think a lot of it comes down to just kind of being creative and trying to figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah, and you know what? I've said that before. I don't know why I didn't think to say that to them. I remember using that before. I think maybe you even said that in the course, and I was like, oh, that's a good one. I have used that in the past. I should have done it here, but I didn't, clearly.
Yeah. I think it's okay. I mean, I think it's just a matter of like you've got the playbook. You know all the levers that you have, right? It's number of deliverables, it's duration of usage rights, it's usage rights, yes, no, exclusivity, yes, no, it's flexibility about deliveries, it's about stretching the budget. It's like there's all these levers that you have, and so it's a matter of just like looking at the situation and being like, okay, what is the thing that I can pivot to right here to really try to understand what they're trying to accomplish, so that I can, you know, offer them something that they'll say yes to, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So if I wanted to go back to them, how would I do that? What would you think?
One angle potentially could be you go back to this person and you say to them, hey, you know, I was taking a look at your Instagram recently, and was just thinking about our conversation, and I had a few ideas of, you know, some unique content angles that, you know, we could potentially collaborate on to help, you know, move the needle for your brand, or get more foot traffic in the doors, or get et cetera, right? Like that probably would be my pivot. That would be my angle, to, you know, you come and you tell them how important having regular reels is, and different ways in which to tell the brand story. Probably, I would honestly probably try and get them on another call. Hey, do you have time for a call this week? Like, I want to learn more about, you know, if you did proceed with that campaign that we were talking about a month ago, how's it going? Let me know how it's going. We'd be really curious. You never know. Maybe an influencer that they ended up contracting instead of you fell off and they didn't work out. And it just takes you reaching out and being like, hey, I'm still interested in collaborating. For them to be like, oh, thank you so much that you reached out, because we actually need your help. You know, right. you just never know.
So I was going to bring up this made me think of another question that I was going to ask later on, but when it comes to like pitching UGC or creating content for them to post, and it wouldn't be on my channels, if they already have like a social media manager that like that's their job to do, is to come up with ideas and create videos and content for their platforms, how do you pitch that? Because it almost seems like you're trying to take somebody's job away from them. You know, like, especially if you're talking directly to that manager or their boss, it's like, if we're already paying somebody to do it, are we like, how does that work? How does that dynamic work? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. So your number one job in that scenario is making that person feel as though you're going to make their life easier, not that you're going to take their job. So you basically ask the question, how are you sourcing content? They'll say something like, oh, I'm making them in Canva, or, oh, I'm the one responsible for liaising with the photographer, or I'm the one, you know, I have like these 50 creators that I'm responsible for, you know, organizing, or I don't know, they're going to tell you something, right, about how they source content. And so your job is to just basically illustrate to them, like, I'm going to make your life easier. I'm not going to take your job. You're the one doing that. You're curating it, all this stuff. I'm not trying to like step on your toes or whatever. There are going to be some social media managers who feel threatened. There's nothing you can do about that, but your job is as best possible to illustrate that, like, hey, I just want to help you. I'm not like trying to take your job. It's like, I'm trying to make your life easier, help you achieve your own brand objectives. The other thing too is that people are busy, dude. People are super busy. They're doing lots of other things. They're doing community engagement, probably. That social media manager is probably the one in the DMs responding to like an angry customer who got a lukewarm burrito or something, right? Right? It's like they're doing lots of things, right? And so you come into them and be like, hey, I can like help you get content for the next 3 weeks. They're going to be like, oh, yes, please. So, but I don't know. It just depends, like, you know, what their pain points are, and it's up to you to uncover those.
Well, I mean, and I agree. I've seen their Instagram. It's a lot of like just photos and kind of like Photoshop stuff against their colors, their brand colors and stuff, which doesn't do anything. But it's like, you're right. You want to make it seem like you're trying to help them and not necessarily put them down, or that you're trying to take their job from them.
Another real quick, like, thing to uncover here around this specific type of situation. What is their chief objective? Probably it's driving more foot traffic into our 1 or 2 locations. so that we can make sales.
They
That
told me on
is,
they told me on the phone
go ahead.
specifically, just so for the situation, that it was awareness. They wanted to
It was
increase
awareness. Interesting.
visibility and awareness. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it'd be interesting to go back to them and say, hey, how did that go? Because oftentimes when brands say, oh, awareness, like that's what we care about, they think that that's going to translate into conversions. They think that
Right.
that's going to translate. They think it's going to be like, oh, we're going to have all these people coming in and you know, more customers and all that stuff too. And then when you go back to them and ask them, hey, how'd it go? And they say, well, it didn't work out as we expected. That sometimes they need to get burned a little bit and realize that there is a difference between a brand awareness campaign and a conversion focused campaign. Imagine if you said to them, hey, I'm going to make you 4 assets. Do you have any promotions coming up? Do you have Taco Tuesday nights, or do you have, I don't know, I'm just making stuff up, but like, do you have promotions or trivia night or something? I'm going to make you some content that you can use, you can repurpose, you can run paid ads with, targeted to the next, you know, the 25 miles around the location. Hey, come on in. We got this XYZ thing. That is a conversion focused campaign. That's conversion focused content, right? And so it's just like, sometimes they need to get burned a little bit to realize like, oh, okay, maybe Josiah was right. We need to construct this content in a little bit different, a different way, depending on the goal.
For sure. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to try that.
So we're not done. There's actually 2 additional negotiations that I helped Josiah think through, and some really important mistakes that you need to avoid. So make sure to check out this video.